It's been a year, plus or minus, since an American ambassador was murdered along with several other American patriots in a land far away, while the president, if he wasn't sleeping, he was at least unaccounted for.
We're not sure where he was.
Bob Ellis from the American Clarion is here today. We're talking a little bit, I wouldn't say reminiscing, but remembering Benghazi. A year later,
Yeah.
what do we know?
I don't think we have nearly the answers that we should. I remember when this broke, I was in Washington, D.C. for the Values Voters Summit, and when you're in a summit like that, a big confab with thousands of people there in our nation's capital, sometimes, even though you're at the center of power, so to speak, you're a bit almost cloistered, and so this news was sort of trickling into us, and it was very disturbing. You know, we all realized that something very bad could happen on the 9/11 anniversary. It's just one of those days that terrorists like to capitalize on.
Right.
And I don't think, at least personally, I didn't expect something from that particular quarter.
Well, the thing that troubles me about it, Bob, is as terrible as it was, not that it even happened, as much as the response of the White House and others in charge while it was happening.
That's what was particularly frustrating and vexing, was they immediately came out with this narrative of that silly video.
Have you ever seen that video?
Actually, I did. I went and looked it up shortly after they started blaming it, and it was it was a piece of work, and I don't mean that in the best possible way. It was cheesy, it was cheap, it was intended to be funny, but it wasn't even really funny. It was just absurd to blame this whole thing on this silly little video, and to be honest with you, from what I have seen since then, I don't think even most people in the Muslim world were aware that it existed before the Obama administration blamed this whole thing on that video.
It was their convenient scapegoat or excuse for something that they should have known, probably did know, was brewing. For heaven's sakes, this ambassador had pleaded for additional security on many occasions to the deaf ear of Hillary Clinton and, you have to assume, the White House.
Yeah. And then whenever it broke, what did the White House do? Surely somebody in the chain of command should have had the authority to send the resources that we had in the Mediterranean to get those guys out of there. I've seen reports and statements from a number of individuals from some of our bases in Italy and other places that could have got there within an hour or two, 3 at the outside, well within the envelope of the time things really went bad.
Well, it's a sad scenario. We look back at the brutal murder of those Americans. The thing that's just continually a picture in my mind is I can just see in the Situation Room in the White House all of these important people, President included, watching this unfold in real time and not doing anything about it.
And that's just unconscionable.
And now here we are a year later. No one has been held accountable for it. No one has been arrested. There's been literally, it seems, no repercussion to this assault on American people and the taking of innocent blood.
There hasn't. As I understand it, and I don't think this has changed since the last time I heard this, the witnesses, the people that were involved in this, are still under signed agreements that they can't say anything to anyone about what happened. This information is being deliberately kept from the American people. And beyond that, the attitude of the Obama administration is disturbing. Just looking back to what Secretary of State Hillary Clinton said, I believe it was last year, when she was questioned about these things, she seemed to reflect the attitude of the administration is, what does it matter? Well, it matters a lot to those people that were killed, it matters to the people that were injured, it matters to their families, and it matters to me as an American.
Yes, and it matters that we don't know where the president even was.
No.
For all we know, he just went home and went to bed.
And if you don't understand what went wrong and why it happened, how do you expect to avoid the same mistake in the future if you don't understand what happened?
There are many people who are looking at all of this, and they're suggesting that the reason we know so little is that the administration had their fingers dirty and was right in the middle of it.
I've read some credible accounts that some things were going on that actually may have some ties to Syria now. I don't feel comfortable enough about them to discuss them in this forum. The places I read them were credible, but again, the fact of the matter is we don't know.
Yeah, and reality says we may never know.